In any Minecraft world, it can be difficult to quickly gain experience and get good enchantments, but no worries, because in this video I'll show you how to do it easily. Definitely the first thing we'll focus on is how to get that quick XP, as of course generally when you're playing in Minecraft you'll kind of get stuck around a low number of levels, and then just over time we'll have to slowly grind to get yourself all the way up to level 30. Of course Minecraft gives us multiple ways of gaining experience, so for instance by killing mobs you can get experience. There's of course always the method of mining non-smeltable ores, so for instance when we're mining this coal ore with a non-silk touch pickaxe, because we're actually getting the material from it, whereas let's say something like with iron, we would be mining the iron and not really be getting its usable form, of course the raw iron, it would then have to be smelted. We can get ourselves XP from that if it's instant, or a more delayed version of XP if it has to be smelted, so anything put through the furnace we can get some experience from that. Something important to actually note is that the blast furnace and smoker give you half the XP of the standard furnace, and it certainly doesn't have to be ores that you're smelting to get XP from smelting. For instance, things like glass, if you smelt that and take it out of the furnace, you'll get experience from it as well. And so those are some of the main methods of getting XP, but of course what are the fastest ways so you can quickly get yourself up to a high level or maybe mend your tools? I would say one of the best methods is actually to travel to the Nether and then to mine out the Nether quartz as well as Nether gold ore. The reason why is that the way that Minecraft works, different types of ores can give you different amounts of experience, and there is an insanely large amount of the Nether quartz ore as well as the gold ore that generates around. Something you might notice, for example, is that sometimes when we're breaking blocks of that Nether gold ore, we won't gain XP every single time we break a piece. In fact, only about 50% of the time. However, with the Nether quartz ore, when we mine this, every single time we mine a piece, we gain a significant amount of XP that actually helps us level up quite a bit. And let's just say that Nether quartz as well as Nether gold ore are both insanely common in the Nether, and so by just bringing your pickaxe with you, then you can get yourself up to an insane amount of levels. This is also good more early game if you don't have an XP farm, but there are some good tips you should know when mining these ores in the Nether. The first one is, even if you have gold boots on, the piglins will not forgive you if you mine any Nether gold ore next to them, so it's really good to be careful about that, and if there are any piglins nearby the Nether gold ore that you're trying to mine, be sure to kill them first. The other thing as well is that the Nether quartz ore being mined does not actually bother the piglins at all, so a good method if there's let's say a lot of piglins around is to wear one piece of gold armor, mine around in the Nether just for the quartz ore, and let the gold ore stay there until maybe later when you have a better method of dealing with those piglins. But the only issue with the Nether is that it can be fairly dangerous, and also once you've mined out all the Nether and gold ore nearby, which does take quite a while because there's a lot of it, it can be harder to get your quick XP here. So here's a slightly less dangerous overworld method you can also get experience from. For this next method we have to head down to the deep dark depths of, well, the deep dark biome. And although it may seem like a fairly dangerous option for gathering XP, with of course that risk of wardens, it's actually pretty easy to deal with. All you want to do is start by finding a large area of deep dark, then find wherever the shrieker is, and if the shriekers are alone, which they generally are, as they're not actually that common in the deep dark biome, just so more common in the ancient cities, then just go up to the individual shrieker, break it with your hoe while crouching up to it so you don't activate it, and you'll be completely fine and this whole area will then be made safe. However, it's always good to look around your area first to make sure there's no shriekers nearby that could potentially summon in a warden. You do have 4 times of activating those until a warden summons, but it's just good to be aware of that as you may be mining down here for a long time. Now the sculk blocks are not mined quickest with a pickaxe, although you definitely can mine them with that. What you want to do is use a hoe, and a hoe that's iron or better. The great thing about the sculk is that it's a super soft block, and so because of that you can instantly mine sculk with something as simple as an iron hoe. But of course certain sculk type blocks, like let's say the shriekers or the sensors or the catalysts, are not going to be instantly mined, though definitely mined fastest with a hoe. And so just bring yourself a decent amount of iron and make a whole bunch of iron hoes. You can go through here cleaning the sculk out of the caves, and you're sort of doing 2 things at once, because not only are you clearing out the sculk, but oftentimes there can be ores that hide underneath the skulk as well, so you're sort of making more of those visible, like let's say the iron under here. And as you can see by my XP bar, the rate at which you gain XP from skulk mining is insanely quick. In fact, I would say this is 100% the quickest way of getting XP, outside of let's say building a dedicated farm. In fact, most mob spawner based farms are definitely slower than this skulk mining. But you may be wondering, how do you actually find a deep dark biome? Well, it's fairly easy. You want to find a place of low erosion, or basically some super tall mountains. This can also be a standard biome that just happens to have generated really high up. It's only the ancient cities that need to be underneath actual mountain biomes, but you want to be in an area that definitely has the highest overworld terrain possible, then head deep down in caves that are nearby, and at the very bottom of those it's very likely that you'll find some skulk. Definitely the best method for getting yourself experience in Minecraft late game is an Enderman farm. In my opinion, really the only good method, because it just is so efficient and you get a lot out of it. Now, there's a lot of different designs for Enderman farms inside of Minecraft, but more or less the idea is you get all the Endermen that would usually be spawning in a Minecraft world, and they'll all go into one area, and then you can get an insane amount of experience from them. Generally, the amount of experience is actually maximum here, and the reason why is that you can kill more Endermen than you can pick up the XP for in time, getting yourself an insane pool of Enderman XP that just sits at your feet. And so this is totally a really great method of doing this, and these farms aren't even that difficult to set up. I would also tend to suggest having yourself an enchantment table nearby with a full book setup, but whatever you end up doing, you'll have more experience than you'll ever need. And of course, for mending different tools too, it'll generally take just a couple seconds to get that fully done. Now, these more or less work by being from the end island fairly separated out, to the point where Endermen can only spawn here and not on the main end island. Then there'll be a Endermite in the very center here, and so they'll see that, get angry, walk in towards the center, pull all the way down, get hurt to the level of being killed in one hit, and once they are down here, the player can really easily kill those and get the XP. There are also a ton of other styles of Enderman XP farms that can be made, and because the number of Endermen that generate in the Nether is so insanely high, these farms are usually crazy efficient, getting the player near infinite XP. Alright, so you have yourself a ton of levels, but what enchantments are you actually looking for, and what is the best way of getting them? According to a poll I recently did on my channel, everyone's favorite enchantment by far seems to be mending, but there is also a lot of other really important enchantments you should be on the lookout for. Then we have Fortune 3. Now Fortune 3 is great because it makes you way more efficient in terms of what you're doing. So for example, for mining ores, every single ore that you mine will gain you more with Fortune 3. In fact, you get 2.2 times the material for every single ore you mine, except for with redstone it's only about 33% more, but still definitely a bonus. As well as that, something that a lot of people don't do but you definitely should, is to harvest your crops with a fortune tool, but you get way more seeds out of your wheat, way more carrots, way more potatoes, and more beetroot seeds as well. But certain items in Minecraft, some as common as let's say the dirt block, can't generally be collected, and so that's where Silk Touch comes in. This is another enchantment early game you want to really be looking out for, and of course things like coral aren't able to be collected at all if you want them alive without Silk Touch. And so there's a really large number of new items that you gain access to, with ore blocks, ice blocks, grass, coral, and more. Of course, all the enchantments are useful in a way, but another really big one you want to look out for is Looting 3. That's because it's sort of like fortune for a sword. You'll notice right there we just got 6 pork chops from one pig, then we got 5 pork chops from that pig, and so more or less what it does is it just makes it so that you get way more from every single mob that you kill. And this is especially useful in the Nether, because things like blazes, for instance, will give you a ton more blaze rods, which makes this rare item be a lot more useful. But also, if you're trying to get a beacon, you need to of course get wither skeleton skulls from withers, and the chance of that is increased by 1% per level of looting you have, or 2% per level of looting if you're in Bedrock Edition, which definitely makes this enchantment be worth it for trying to get those. And you can even see right there we actually just killed a wither skeleton and got ourselves a skull because we had that much higher chance that was given to us by the looting enchantment. Although of course there's always a bunch of other really great enchantments in the game, something really important to do is to protect yourself, so I would say protection for on your armor is also something you should be looking out for. Anyway, let's start with how to get enchantments the standard way, which is with an enchanting table. Start by of course making your enchanting table, and you want to surround it with 15 books. These books can basically be within one block of the enchanting enchanting table. So for instance, this one right here isn't giving us any benefit. So a technically ideal setup would be like this. You can also put them one block higher if you want. Just make sure you have at least 15, but anything more than 15 isn't really going to help you. To enchant, you'll also need lapis lazuli, which is most commonly mined around Y0. So start by putting in your tool and your lapis, and you'll notice we have 3 options here from level 1, 2, and 3. Basically always you want to pick level 3, but do check the enchantment that's being shown to us for the other levels. So for instance right here at level 2 we have Silk Touch being suggested, which is absolutely worth it. So we enchanted our diamond pickaxe right there with Silk Touch, only costing us 2 levels down from our total, so we went from 100 to 98 there, and as well as that it cost us 2 lapis. Everything in Minecraft has enchantability. That means how easy is it to get a good enchantment on it. So for instance something like a book has a fairly low enchantability, which means you can sometimes get suggested fairly bad enchantments for the level that you're enchanting it at. In terms of tools and materials, the enchantability does depend with it. So for instance with these 4 pickaxes here, let's say we put in the iron pickaxe, we're getting efficiency 4 being suggested, and we'll enchant it with that. We also got fortune 3, but if we put in the golden pickaxe and we enchant that there, you'll see we just got efficiency 4. Obviously this is because this effect is not always dependent on the enchantability. Also if you find a tool that's really good but you don't like the enchantment, what you can do is just put it in the disenchanting table, also known as the grindstone of course, crafted with a stone slab, 2 sticks, and 2 wooden planks, and you can get your levels back. But what this means is that if you have a lot of different tools, you want to try and enchant the best tool possible. So of course enchanting a golden pickaxe you might get some good enchantments out of it, but it doesn't matter because it's a gold pickaxe and it's going to give you like 2 pieces of durability before it breaks. What you want to do is enchant diamond and netherite tools. But here's another problem. We're now at 29 levels and we want to get a great enchantment on our pickaxe here. We don't have 30 levels and we don't want to go and get the XP to get it up to 30 levels. Well, that's where using torches comes in, but you can actually use any block you want to stop some of these books from influencing the level that the enchanting table's at. So by placing this one block there, we put this in, it's at level 24. Let's say we placed a torch there and we place this here, you see it's also at level 24. But by placing these around in different places, we can block certain books and the XP and the things that they're affecting. So for instance, by putting this torch here, you can see it's now showing us a level 29 enchantment. And so because of that, we can enchant that. And look, we got Unbreaking 3, Silk Touch, and Efficiency 4 on a level 28 enchant. And this leads us to a great trick. And that's what I like to call enchantment grinding. This basically means you're going to pick one enchantment you want to get and you're not going to stop until you have it be suggested. So what this is going to be for us is Fortune 3. Start by getting whatever tool you want, it doesn't actually matter, and you want to have a decent number of levels, but it doesn't matter too much because we're going to have to waste them all to do this. Start by looking in the enchantment table and seeing which enchantment is being 100% guaranteed. This one here is Unbreaking 3. Then enchant it at level 1, take that tool and disenchant it, or something you could do as well is if you have a bunch of small useless tools you barely use, you could enchant all those at level 1 as well instead of disenchanting and re-enchanting the same tool. But either way, check the enchantment, enchant it again, disenchant, and we're going to keep doing that, enchanting at the lowest level, simply taking our total level down by 1 point. So if you look at our XP level of 23 there, we have a ton more times we can try this, and the idea would be is that eventually suggested, we are going to get Fortune 3 there. Generally it'll be something like Unbreaking 3 or Efficiency 4, but for the rare time there will be a Silk Touch or Fortune 3 there. The more tools you have, the speedier this is. The only real thing it tends to waste is a lot of lapis. And there we go, we now have Fortune 3 being the suggested enchantment. Once it is like that, it's saved. So let's say we break this enchanting table right here and place it down again, then we check the enchantment, it's still going to be Fortune 3. We could even put some torches up here and you'll notice it does change, but if we go back up to that level 30, it's still Fortune 3. At this point what you want to do is go out, maybe mine some quartz or go to your XP farm and get back up to that level 30. Once you do finally reach it, you can put in there the tool you want to enchant and then get your enchantment at the level you wanted. So let's say Fortune 3. We now have that guaranteed Fortune 3 enchantment, and all it really did was cost us a bit of levels and lapis to find out what it is. And that's how you can get literally any enchantment you want out of the enchanting table super easily. It also works of course with things like different types of armor. We don't want fire protection 3, so we'll just enchant that at level 1, disenchant that, put it back in the table. Now we have Unbreaking 3, which we do want. Well, let's say lower the level of this table a bit, It says protection 3 now instead of protection 4. But again, we can try and find this offering it at the level we want. So there's the Unbreaking 3 again. We're at 27 levels, so we'll have to gain a little bit. And here we go, we're getting exactly what we want, that helmet at Unbreaking 3. And we even got protection 3 as a bonus. And so that's fundamentally how you use the enchanting table. And ideally for a literally perfect tool, you want to start with an enchantment in the enchanting table. So let's say right here we have our Unbreaking 3, Silk Touch Efficiency 4, then later on add some books. And you can do that by crafting an anvil, putting it in your enchantment area if you want, and then combining that with the other books. So here we'll combine Efficiency 4 plus Efficiency 4 to give us Efficiency 5, and finish off with a mending book. And this is now a perfect Silk Touch pickaxe, and I would always suggest naming your Silk Touch and your Fortune tools, so that when you're going through your hotbar you can see instantly what type of tool you're holding. You've probably noticed that mending does not show up in the enchantment table, and also there's often other things we want that we just can't get or it'll take way too long. That's where villager trading comes in, and I'm going to show you how you can get your enchantments through villagers. Start by heading over to a village, or go to an area where maybe you have a villager breeder, and craft yourself some lecterns. Lecterns are made with 4 slabs and 1 bookshelf like this. Lectern item will turn an unemployed villager into a librarian. Start by breaking the villager's current work site if they have one, then placing down a new one for them, let's say a lectern right here. And once you have placed down their lectern, see what trades they're offering. If there's no enchanted book to start off with, break that lectern and place it down again. Oftentimes the best idea to do this efficiently is to just dig that villager into a little pit it can't escape from, so you can place down that lectern, it'll instantly grab it. So the idea would be put some lecterns in your offhand, place, check the trade, and then break it, and then place it down again, check the trade, and break it if you don't like the trade. By doing this, you can get literally every single enchantment you want in Minecraft to be offered, except for 2. And those are Soul Speed 3 as well as Swift Sneak. But of course that doesn't matter too much, as those enchantments aren't actually that useful. Anyway, we're going to keep going through, and you'll notice right here we were just offered a trade of Looting 3. It is kind of expensive, but hopefully you'll have a good source of emeralds at this point. I would suggest some Mason Villagers where you can turn stone into emeralds, or maybe some Fletchers where you can have sticks to emeralds. But let's say we don't want that, and maybe we're going for a Mending book. We'll keep breaking this and replacing it until Mending is offered. You'll notice here's Multi-Shot for only 5 emeralds, which is really cheap. This could be a good trade to lock in. Let's say it is the trade we want. All you need to do to lock that trade in permanently is to trade with the villager 1 time. Once we've done that, that villager, as long as it's alive, will always be selling us that multi-shot book. And of course, to actually buy any of the enchanted books, you need to have some books and also some emeralds. And as the villager gains levels, oftentimes at higher level trades it offers will be even more enchanted books. And let's say right here we actually had something really hilarious and rare happen, which is the first level enchantment it gives us is multi-shot, and the second one is multi-shot, so we have 2 multi-shot trades that are both super cheap from 1 villager. And this could even happen with mending if you're lucky. So either way, use that same thing of break, replace that villager's workstation. This actually works with every workstation, not just the lecterns, to eventually get yourself a villager trading hall, offering whatever trades you want. And in combination with zombifying the villagers to get them better trade prices, you could get yourself whatever trades you want offered. And if you want to know more about the best enchantments for every single tool or anything like that, I have a whole bunch of videos on enchanting, and I'll make sure to have those on the end screen. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to get enchantments and XP quickly inside of Minecraft. If you did, make sure to enchant the like button, subscribe to see more content like this, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!